Election interference, everybody knows it. I'm here instead of being able to be in Pennsylvania and Georgia and lots of other places campaigning, and it's very unfair. Fortunately, the poll numbers are very good. They've been going up because people understand what's going on. This is a witch hunt, and it's a shame, and it comes out of Washington. It's in coordination with Washington, everything, including the DA's office. It's in coordination with Washington. I just want people to understand that this is done for purposes of hurting the opponent of the worst president in the history of our country. Second of all, we have another trial going on right now. That's Letitia James. She campaigned on the fact that I will get Trump. I'm going to get Trump. And it has to do with a bond of $175 million. First of all, she doesn't want me to participate with financial companies in New York. So we have a company, I guess, based in California. It's a bonding company. And I put up $175 million in cash, but she says the bonding company is not good. She doesn't like the bonding company because she doesn't know if the collateral is good. And I put up $175 million in cash, and she's questioning the bonding company. Well, when you put up cash, and the number is 175, which is what we're supposed to be putting up, but I give it in cash, she shouldn't be complaining about.
Before going into the courtroom, Caitlin, obviously we've heard these kind of statements before.
Well, and just for everyone who's, drinking their morning coffee and wondering what he's talking about there at the end, Judge Ingron, a separate judge, is this morning hearing and assessing the credibility of that bond that Trump put up in his civil fraud case. That's what he clearly is very preoccupied with there, what he was talking about. The other argument, though, is the one that his team has kind of coalesced around, the one that they say that they are going to be making for the next 6 to 8 weeks. And if Trump is convicted in this case, continuing to do it on the campaign trail, which is alleging that President Biden is in charge and coordinating this entire investigation, and is the reason Donald Trump is in a courthouse on criminal trial right now. Obviously, none of that is true. When all of this was coming to light, the facts of what Donald Trump, David Pecker, and Michael Cohen had done and talked about with these payments, Joe Biden was in Delaware. He had just left the White House, and so he was obviously not involved in this. This is a case that was brought here in Manhattan. Trump was indicted by a jury here, a grand jury here, that heard the evidence here, and now it's going to be a jury of 12 people that will decide his ultimate fate here. But politically, they believe that's going to be, their best argument, even though it's not true. It's going to be what he says.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that this is directed is ludicrous. This is often referred to as a zombie case. This is a case that has been around for a while. It just sort of, it just took a long time. It would kind of go away, and then Alvin Bragg would come back to it.
Two different districts. Before Alvin Bragg was even the district attorney here in Manhattan, Cyrus Vance was the Manhattan district attorney here that was dealing with that. This was a case that they were questioning how to bring it, what it would look like, the question of whether the civil fraud case would be brought as a criminal case. Yeah. Those are things that have been around for a long time. And there were questions. I was covering the White House in 2016, 2017, whether or not this was a legal campaign contribution with these payments back then.
Judge Cunningham, we were talking about opening.
In a stunning turn of events, history is being written as a former U.S. president faces criminal charges. Donald Trump, one of the most polarizing figures in American politics, is standing in the dock in New York, marking an unprecedented moment in the nation's history. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office has leveled several charges against Trump, a development that has sent shockwaves across the political landscape. But, true to form, Trump responded almost immediately, launching a blistering attack against both the Manhattan District Attorney and the presiding judge. His combative response, laced with his usual fiery rhetoric, has raised several eyebrows. Legal experts and political observers alike are questioning the potential repercussions of his words. Could his inflammatory comments potentially land him in deeper legal trouble? Or are they just another example of Trump's penchant for controversy? As this extraordinary chapter in American politics unfolds, we find ourselves grappling with a burning question. How will these charges, and more importantly, Trump's handling of them, impact his political future? Will they tarnish his image, or will they somehow reinforce the loyalty of his base? As we watch this unfold, the question remains: how will these charges impact Trump's political future? In In the midst of this legal whirlwind, Trump's trial date has been set, coinciding with a pivotal moment in the political landscape. The former president is scheduled to face the courtroom on March 4th, 2024, a date that's not just another day on the calendar. It's the eve of Super Tuesday, one of the most decisive days in the United States political cycle. It's a day when a multitude of states cast their primary votes, potentially indicating Trump's progress towards securing the GOP nomination. The timing of the trial is so intriguing that it's hard to ignore its potential implications. With the trial unfolding just a day before Super Tuesday, it's conceivable that the proceedings could influence the results. It's a high-stakes game of political chess, where every move could sway public opinion and affect the electoral outcome. Now, one might think that an impending trial would slow down a presidential campaign. However, in Trump's case, it seems to be business as usual. Despite the legal challenges, he continues to campaign with vigor, maintaining a strong presence in the GOP field. It's an unusual sight, a testament to his unique brand of politics that's both controversial and captivating. Yet, it's worth noting that this isn't just about one man's political ambitions. The outcome of this trial could have far-reaching effects. It could set a precedent for how future presidents are held accountable, and it could impact the political landscape in ways we can't fully predict. If Trump secures the nomination, despite the trial, it would signify a seismic shift in political norms. As the trial date approaches, the nation watches on, with the outcome potentially reshaping the political landscape. In the face of these historic events, Trump's comments have been nothing short of controversial. Indeed, they are not only baseless, but also potentially impactful on the ongoing legal proceedings. The former president's remarks have consistently targeted the Manhattan District Attorney and the judge presiding over his case. These attacks, while raising eyebrows, also raise serious concerns about their potential influence on the jury. In the midst of this, Trump surprisingly waived his claims of executive privilege, a move that has led to Steve Bannon's willingness to testify before the January 6th committee. Bannon, despite facing criminal contempt charges for defying a congressional subpoena, has expressed his readiness to cooperate. This decision came after receiving a letter from Trump, who condemned the committee as thugs and hacks. Interestingly, Bannon's upcoming trial and his willingness to testify do not absolve him of past non-compliance with the subpoena. In fact, federal prosecutors are keen to emphasize that the criminal contempt statute aims to punish past non-compliance rather than to ensure compliance. The committee remains interested in Bannon's communications with Trump leading up to the Capitol insurrection and his predictions of unrest. As we navigate these turbulent times, it's important to remember that Trump's comments are not without consequence. His criticism of the judge's family connections to Biden did not disqualify the judge from the case, but it did fuel the ongoing controversy. Trump's willingness to share evidence publicly has also been a point of contention. Prosecutors are now working to limit his ability to do so, negotiating a protective order for evidence sharing and setting a trial date, potentially in 2024. In this complex and unprecedented scenario, the former president's remarks continue to stir the pot, adding to the uncertainty and tension surrounding his trials. As we stand on the brink of this historic trial, Trump's comments continue to stir controversy, adding another layer of complexity to an already unprecedented situation